kind of self-doubt. I doubt myself a lot. And I noticed that recently.
Yeah.
Because I would be like, I'd have a shoot and I would just be like, oh, I'm going to go. And I'd just, the night before, no matter what kind of shoot it is, it could be free, it could be paid. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? And at the end of the day, I'm like the day just ended. Like, with just like that. It's like a birthdays.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, you want to do a wrap-up video? And I'd be like, I'll be there. But then, birthday video yesterday, tomorrow I'm doing golf. You know, so it's just so abroad.
While we got this opportunity to stand in unity, together I want to lift up our community. Versatile like our town, yeah, we limitless. Let the seeds today go bring the benefit.
What's up, family? My name is Rafael. Welcome to Limitless. Today I have the honor of having a young man by the name of Kidus, who has his own business media company. It's called SBK Media. And he came a long way. He's doing freelancing and different projects, and he's still in school at the same time. And so we're gonna have a lot of beautiful conversations. It's really, I'm honored to have him because it means a lot, and I've known him since when he was a lot younger. So, Kidus, welcome.
Hey guys, long overdue, eh?
Long overdue. We've been planning this. Bring your mic a little bit closer to you because I think I speak loud, so I'm gonna I really wanted since I've seen you do your medias and striving, and from what I remember, like you've been wanting to do this since when you were like
kind of young,
a lot young, right? Yeah. And I remember you talking to me like you didn't know exactly which way you wanted to go, but you knew exactly where. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Kidus? Background,
hey guys,
where you are?
Kidus here. I am fourth year of media communications at Humber College. Started like media has always been like my thing, specifically like videography. I love like editing. And I'm getting into a little bit of photography now. Podcasts. My first podcast. Thank you for having me. I want to say
that. At least I will say like I brought him first when you get famous.
So nothing background. Like I'm immigrant, right? So I came from Ethiopia. I was 11 when I came here with my family, and it was kind of first couple of years, obviously, as an immigrant, it's not something like that was, I would say, comfortable, right? So you're still finding your way. Not only are you learning to speak English, but it's just the whole environment around you has changed, right? I just fresh. I just came. So after that, though, it was I was in grade 5, going to grade 6, and then grade 8 came, and then high school, and then here we are. So I started like media. Interest in media was like videography, like I said, was I'd say like grade 12, because my high school offered a couple courses, right? So the beginner to photography and stuff like that. And stuff really took off during my first year or second year, sort of, because quarantine happened, and I found myself alone at home. You know what?
Experimenting on things.
Specifically, I met like a lot of good people on the way, and I don't know. I've been through so much. Like these past like 4 years, it's just been every year's just been crazier and crazier. So
in a better way.
I can't even like put it into words. In like just a bunch of random things come to my head. So you have to like narrow it down for me. Interesting part is just or more like the key part of this would be, I would say, how the pandemic in general just gave so many people different ideas. And it just brought that little bit interest into this completely new thing. And that's what I would say. Yeah,
because it came into a place where nothing to lose, you're at home.
Literally.
I might as well try, but otherwise you'd be like occupied with doing something else, and then you won't be able to do it. This is awesome. From what I remember, you've been interested in media like way before grade 12. You just didn't know exactly what you wanted to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's so many ways to go about it, media, right? So because one of the courses, like, because as a digital communication, when I just took it, I never narrowed down to what I wanted, right? Maybe now I kind of do, which is specifically targeted in videography/film. But at that time, there was no way I was just gonna jump into film, because there's always that doubt in your mind that goes like, oh, like this is not what I wanted. Like I want to backtrack. So I said took it as a whole, and yeah, there's just
Are you discovering which route you're gonna take when it comes to whether like
yeah, but
film or some people like they started like getting interested in documentary or commercial or movies or music production or things like that. I know you've done
like
a little bit of music production.
I started like the freelancing thing during 2020 years, like the like during quarantine. I don't remember what year that was. So at that time I was like just a freelancing stuff, and I had a friend that I met. His name is Kareem. Is Train to Go Films. Shout out Train to Go Films.
Nice.
He was the guy. Me and him were together. It was T2G Films, and we started like he was very like key on track and field. He's a track and field guy. So one day I remember he bought a drone. It was the Mavic like S2. It was amazing, like a very big drone at that time. And he's like, oh, let's go out and shoot. And I remember we were on a beach, and not a beach, like it was just by the lake.
Like okay.
And I remember the video had like me wearing like obviously mask and like gloves at the time because of the COVID-19. And we were like keeping distance and stuff. And then I flew up the drone, and then I was just making circles around it, put like a little music on it, and that was my first ever post, I believe.
Oh,
I think that's my first. I don't have my phone with me to check.
I think I've seen it.
It was
just driving right over the lake.
Over the lake. That was the first. And then I looked at the video and I was like, whoa. And then the next week,
fell in love.
The next week I just bought my first camera. It was like a Lumix.
Yeah.
And after that, it started getting a bit warmer. And again, he loves fitness, so he'd be like, hey, I'm working out. Let's just do a workout video. We shot a couple workout videos straight to the Instagram, and then all my friends were supportive and so on. So he was Kareem. That's my guy, bro.
That's you see that's the beauty about having a friend that actually pushes you to things. I'll talk about that later. But when the whole idea of this podcasting, I've told you before, is in kind of discovering our culture and our ability and our concerns and things that we have to do as whether it's an individual or as a black person or as a community, right? So and then also trying to learn from some of stuff. And how old are you right now? 20.
Me? I'm 20. I didn't mean to forget, because it's like I'm 22 right now. I'm turning 23, right? So it's 2000.
So you're talking about like you started doing video in 4 or 5 years. So when you were like 18,
19.
So So earlier you talked about you coming here, everything being new, right? And like, what is the change? If I know it's been a while. So how old were you when you came?
Like 11. It was
11,
a long time ago.
Right? Yeah. So a lot of people that comes and are grown up now, even for me, I got here when I was 15, turning 16. What is the thing that you remember as coming into a new culture, a new place, a new world, leaving your friends, and coming trying to figure out like to fit in? And like, how did it affect you, or like what is the thing that you will like if you give an advice for someone that comes in, what would you
like? Not necessarily advice, but one thing I remember was I was always behind in something, right? So it was just whether it be people get it first and I'll be like, oh, what was it again? Everything had to be explained to me twice. And that, like, I don't know about now if I'm still a thing. I think I'm okay now, but
you're doing good.
Yeah, so where it's like everything was repeated. Everything had to be repeated for me, or everything. So there's just always one step behind. And well, that's what I felt. But other than that, I think I adapted. Like,
you adapted because you came as a young age. You didn't butcher the language the way I did it.
Oh.
No, like when I came in as like, I was trying to speak a British slangs, because in Africa a lot of times it's like you learn whatever you learn, and then I try to like mix up Italians and British and all that in one, and then I remember getting up in class, like when I was talking about cultures, like how back home you stand up when a teacher walks in, and I came into high school, I stood up and everybody looked at me like I was something wrong with me. And I had a friend that is from like Ethiopian that was sitting beside me. He knew it, but he went quiet and he just exposed me, and he was dying and sitting down. So for you, you're a lot younger. So I think I think back home got kind of familiar to the Western world, and they started teaching English. I don't know if you
Like,
if you're in
yeah,
that.
I kind of knew English a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was just a matter of honestly, when you're that young, like 11, 12, everything is just, it's all just kids
Go
play.
Squids.
Yeah, right. You're just getting adapted. You're not really getting adapted to the real world. You're
Yeah.
still in school, games, stuff like that with people at school.
Yeah.
So I picked up on the slang, the thing way first than like the actual academics. Or
That was up.
you know what I mean? I was, just whatever was at school at recess, I caught
Yeah.
more on than at
Yeah.
the school. But
So-
then.
So
I had
what
to-
was your so going into school, even though you knew that you wanted to do media, like what, grade 10, grade 11?
Yeah, like it was in high school.
It was in high school,
Yeah.
right? You didn't, until then you didn't know what you wanted to do, other than probably your parents tell you be a doctor or an engineer.
Yeah, but like I wanted to obviously get like some sort of degree,
Yeah.
which I'm doing now. But at the end of the day, now is when I realized like it's something I really want to do. So although like it's obviously good to get a degree, who doesn't, but if you're passionate about something, I don't really, if I'm gonna want something, I'm gonna go get it. Like,
But if I
that's
ask you, if I ask you, the reason I'm asking this question is because there's a lot of younger guys, right, that are still don't know what they want to do, right? So, and then some of them, they feel like kind of hopeless because they think that because they're not figuring out in the early in high school that life is, that's it, like they don't know what they want. So, and then the way you were talking, even though you had a little bit idea, you really didn't know exactly that you wanted, even grade 12,
yeah.
you still were like discovering it.
I remember, yeah, because I remember it wasn't necessarily like as clear as it was. So I remember like in grade 9, I was like, I love soccer. So one thing you don't know, like if you
I do.
if you know, like,
You in soccer.
3 p.m. today, I'm gonna go watch Man City.
Yeah.
There's a final. I have to go attend today. That's how serious it is.
Wow.
I just love watching soccer.
Yeah.
So, beside like the point, so I remember we used to watch back in 2015, 16. There was this trend, not trend, but it was popular where people set up cameras and they shoot the ball and they like try to get it to top.
Oh yeah.
corner.
Oh yeah.
I remember there's actually I'll try to find it, but there's a video of just me and my buddy from grade 9 just shooting around. I'll add like crazy music, explosions and stuff on my phone. I had like a Nexus. I remember I had a Google Nexus like 6 or 5.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
I would I'll put it on there, and
Sorry, I'm
then
getting my coffee.
I'll just post it on my main account. But Instagram wasn't that popular. I remember my old account used to be named like Soccer Pro 123 or something, and then we used to post all videos and stuff. Except like I was posting with a little bit like editing and stuff. I remember I used like I don't know if you remember Viva Video back in the day for Android.
Yeah.
That's what I used to use, and I remember that was the earliest one I remember. And after that, in grade 10, I made another soccer video, except it was with Toronto FC. I made like top 10 goals. And
Yeah.
it's something I was doing as a hobby, but I was still finding my way.
Yeah.
And then
That is,
Yeah.
you see, the beauty is because not always people find out that what they want an early age, right? And then some of us are still discovering.
yeah, me
So,
too. Like
yeah.
I'm not even the place like where I want to be right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
But I think there's a path that I'm taking towards, right?
yeah.
So who knows?
Right now, it's like you're generalizing it. So it's like you're taking a general idea
Mhm.
of what you wanted to do, but you don't exactly specifically where you want to focus and stuff. And
could-
when, go ahead.
Like I was gonna say, sorry, is like the way I see media, like videography or whatever I do, is it can be implemented everywhere. Like
Yeah.
the way I see it now, right?
Yeah.
So it can be like any type of like place or anything could use a media, right?
Yeah.
So we're just chilling here, whatever. The camera's out.
Yeah.
and that just, I don't know, in my opinion, that makes everything
That is true. No, because
amazing.
for me, like I was looking at your video, some of the video that you're having, and I saw your music video. They're awesome, and then I started seeing your sport video,
Yeah, right?
and I'm like, look like this guy is gonna be like toward the sport media because you get that like professional look what you see
yeah.
on ESPN kind of look, and then so. When you do multiple things, you started discovering exactly where you belong,
Yeah,
right?
literally everywhere. So
Yeah.
sometimes my friend, like, I don't know, sometimes like I want there'll be places, whatever, or not places, like a birthdays.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, you want to do a wrap up video? I'd be like, I'll be there. But then birthday video yesterday, tomorrow I'm doing golf. You know, so it's just so abroad.
Yeah.
And it could be applied.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing because you're getting experience from everyone.
Everyone, right?
Yeah.
And it's also building, like, building clients, right? So you're getting different people, right?
Yeah,
oh, this guy does like birthday videos, whatever. No, this guy does golf videos or soccer videos. It's like, wow, like, you're getting different people, right? And then they tell their friends and friends tell their friends, which like an example, I was doing like this engagement video last year.
Yeah.
And that family called me for a different video, right? So they told, it goes around, word goes around.
That's the thing.
And I was just doing,
I have experience with that word of mouth. I remember the cameraman that we used for our wedding day. He was just starting up. Wow. He only charged us for 4 crew. He charged us $1,200.
4 crew.
4 crews, 2 cameramans, 2 videographers, right? And then they did a really good job. And then, as you know, the Habesha community, if I tell one person, the whole, and then everybody, especially around Pape Church and stuff, everybody started using him. The guy exploded, and then now he has like 80% Ethiopian community customers, and then he has his own customer. Now the guy became what do you call it? Canada's wedding photography judge, and he's charging like $400, $500 an hour.
Wow.
To do things. So the best way of marketing is word of mouth rather than you trying to advertise it. So what you're doing is an awesome. And I see your B-rolls are awesome, like especially the sport B-rolls that you do. And soon you're gonna be learning, what do you call those things with the drone that they go through people and
that's something I actually plan to. I love the
that is beautiful. So let me talk to you about experience and challenges. Here we like to bring out challenges and then also talk about the solution. By the way, that is not a bad thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, like, so it's just a matter of if there was more confidence, right? If I applied more confidence, I think with everything, right? Obviously, it's normal to have nerves, but if it's beyond the nerves, before the game or before the performance or anything, it's gonna be an issue. So the one thing I face is just like motivating myself to just go more and like, oh, this is incredible. Or some people are like, oh, this video is good, and I'll be like, it's whatever. It could be like that one over there, but no, like, it's just my own style. Like, people like my videos, right, or my work in general.
If I'm playing the devil advocate, and then if I'm telling you like, this media thing is it's not gonna pay good, it's too much competition, 100%. and it might not work, what would be your answer?
I mean, it's my craft, right? It's gonna be me. At the end of the day, like, I'm making. I'm never gonna repeat someone else's, like, the exact way someone else is gonna do it, right? Obviously, there's gonna be like repetitive stuff online and stuff. Like, you're gonna look at, take inspirations, but at the end of the day, like, I will do my own thing, and even if I don't do my own thing, I'll find that thing, right? And so I'm just driving towards my purpose.
You're finding your signature, and at the end of no matter. I remember that a lady was saying that she has a big company, and I was watching this podcast. She sells injera. She exports injera from back home all over the world. And then someone told her, what if somebody copies it? And for those of you who don't know injera, it's a Ethiopian food. For the fams that are not Habesha, I'm just and she said, it really touched me, because people told us, like, what if they copied? And it's easy to copy. It's not patented stuff. Anybody can export it. And she said, but nobody can do it the way I do it, right? She said they can do exactly the same thing, but they won't be able to do it the way I do it.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty about it. It's not them, it's me. So for you, I think you say the same thing. It's like, it's you're doing it. It's your work.
My work.
There can be 1,000 of them, but at the end of the day, there will be somebody that will want Kidus to do the media.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's also like I take a lot of, I'm always open to criticism or like feedback, right? So connections wise, like, there's a lot of people especially at Humber. Like this year was when I would say like my best year as like a beginner or intermediate videographer or content creator, because I got a placement there for school.
Yeah.
And the whole year I was just sports after sports. So it was changed by the season. So we're doing soccer, volleyball, basketball, and alongside I'm finding people that are doing the same thing as me. So I would go up to them, hey, what's your setting like? What do you do this? And then there's so many people at Humber that were able to like help me, right? And it's good to have a mentor, and it's good to have someone that you kind of look up to, or you know, it doesn't matter. Like I am never like someone came up to me and gave me criticism on my work or say, hey, maybe do this. I would dab up the person. I would hug the person. You know, thank you.
That's what I learned. I saw that. Now, one thing that I really appreciated about you is that the fact that you're always eager to learn. And I've seen you even when we were doing media at church. You're always following, like, you know, like, how did you do this? And how do you, like, you're always eager to even when you know it, you pretend that you don't know it. I noticed that. And you pretend that you don't know. Like, even he was setting up, we were setting up this, what we're talking about right now. And he's trying to, like, oh, you know, you do it. I'm like, you're the expert. I'm just doing a podcast. So, so that's a beautiful thing for me to, and so, speaking on that, is it something that you had naturally, or is it something that you learn as over time to always to be eager to learn and humble yourself? Because it's not an easy thing for people to do it, because they can, especially as a younger age, and people can say, oh, I know it.
No, like when you're learning something, especially for free, you're not losing anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting the education or the thing for free. Like, you know, sometimes I'd be like, hey, just do this for me. I'll just give some my boy, like someone that loves, for example, my camera, be like, hey, can you apply this for me? Or give me the same setting as you, or how do I do it? So it's just, what does it cost? Your ego? Are you gonna just?
Exactly.
You know what I mean, it's just lower your ego and just open up, right? That's what it's gonna be.
I'm very I'm learning a lot. Even a lot of times when people, you know, when I'm doing the podcast in general, I'm bringing people to learn, and then for me to see you growing up, doing things that you're doing, and now watching you in medias and then achieving that you want, that's a huge humbling experience even for myself to learn from you. And what are the things, like, when you're dealing with customers?
Yeah, clients. Yeah.
So, are there challenges? Whether how do you do it? Do you plan it out, or?
For me, I take the more of the social media route, where you just hit me by DM, whatever. Which I'm gonna change soon. I want to make it a little more professional, maybe email back and forth. But there's always time for that. It's all good. Like, DMs are always open. I'm always checking. Challenges, I would say, is there will be people sometimes that might not necessarily try to exploit, but try to get something out without them investing in. Like, for example, like, let's do this whatever, and then you tell them whatever your price or your thing, and they'll just be like, yeah, I'll hit you back later. Like, okay. Instead, you can just rearrange, you know? Hey, can you lower this? I'm like, I'm always listening, no matter what. Like, I can reason with you. But sometimes it's just...
That's a part of it.
Yeah, or it's a low ball you, right? They would try to go low, too low. It's like... Dude, I'm there for 10 hours.
Is it your own people who do that? Mostly?
No. Thankfully not, no. But I wouldn't say I've had too much of that, but that's something I would see. Or sometimes, like, she's like, oh... This is a famous one, actually, where it's like, we're having this. Bring your camera.
Oh, okay.
Like, nah, I'm good, bro.
I stopped that.
I'm good, bro.
You've seen me before. I was doing a lot of, like, pictures and videos and stuff like that. And I said, I started, like, literally despising what I'm doing after a while. Because I enjoy taking picture, video, and everything. But because of the favor that I keep getting asked, and I'm doing it for free, and my wife's getting annoyed. I'm like, you need to charge these people. And then the last one I did, and I did it just to please the people, and I lost the whole video. Oh. And it was a 25-year anniversary.
No.
Yeah. and I edited.
That's actually my biggest fear, losing.
Yeah, I put it on my file. I edited it, and I used the video with my iPhone because it has a better 4K on it, and then I did the picture on my camera, and then I transferred it. Poof! I'm like, I knew it. I said, I knew it. I shouldn't do this thing, and I'm like, I'm done after this. So, and speaking on that, you're doing a media for your school.
Yeah.
Talk to me how you got that job, man.
Yeah, that one.
That is a crazy. That's crazy story.
It was one of my favorite. Like, it's really one of my favorite stories to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Go ahead.
you asked. It was the. So yes, my my school year, I was supposed to have the placement last summer.
Yeah.
Like very last summer. Not even this summer. Like last summer, and I had so much summer school that I didn't catch up on, that I missed the placement for co-op. So I already established I'm going to graduate a year later than my classmates, right? This year. In high school case, if this was high school, I'd be losing. I was just freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm late. And then I talked to my mom and stuff, and she literally told me, like, you're a grown man. Like, just, this is your life,
Deal with it.
So I just grabbed the steering wheel. I said, you know what, I'm going to do this my way. So summer came again. And, so I missed the thing last summer, right? So what I did was in September or around August, I was like, August is usually the time where co-op placement has to end. You have to give in your hours and stuff to your school so you can graduate. I already knew I was 1 year behind, so I emailed, I remember, I was like, what kind of videographer am I going to be, right? I never even had school thoughts or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I went to the Humber Hawks page, and Humber turns out to be like the best college for sports in like all of Canada. It's one of our one of our best. And I didn't know much at the time, so I was like, I've shot one basketball video from the audience one time as a viewer before I got my camera in, started recording, and made a little thing for my Instagram. And at the time I was posting everything for the gram, right, for the Instagram, just to boost it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've always had a once a month policy, like back then. I'm kind of slacking off right now, but it was just due to like other work, which is I'm fine with.
Yeah.
So it's like, for the month of like March or April, I need a video. So I made a basketball video for nationals. So all the teams from Canada came to our school. Our school was hosting, and it was a good video. It had like Kendrick Lamar's like "All Right, We Gonna Be All Right" video. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
So I made that. I had made that like previous, like couple months back. So I sent it to the guy Brian, my manager, good guy, and I sent it to him. I said, hey, like, you guys have any options? Like, I need a placement for Humber. This is my video, whatever. And a week later, I get it. He's like, they gave me the option, like the position of just wrapping it up, right?
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of wrap ups.
Yeah.
So I was just basically, as soon as I got the job, and again I asked, I was like, hey, is it a possibility I can make this a placement? And he said, yeah. So then I talked to my professor, my head of for a thing, and she said, yeah, you can do it. So instead of 40 hours a week for the summer every day, for like every 40 hours a week until the whole summer.
Until the whole season.
Yeah, I needed 420 hours.
Yeah.
I was able to extend those 420 hours into September till the season's over, which is like March.
Wow.
So I was able to extend it. So that it gives me more space, more time to think.
And you're getting paid for that.
Yeah, and it was also a paid co-op.
So how did that come about? Like, so now
I just mixed it. I just asked.
So they after they hired you, and then you told them that, can I do my placement with the
here
job
as well? Yeah, with the thing.
That
it somehow like worked out, and I everything got approved, and it was very nice because compared to doing everything at once. So let's just say like you're doing everything one summer, it could be one sport.
Yeah.
For hypothetically, even if it wasn't Humber, I would just be shooting one sport. But since the seasons are changing every time, I was able to shoot all of the sports, right? Of them. And
that's smart on you for you to ask that, because you're getting different sports.
So I started off with soccer, and the soccer team, Humber soccer team went all the way to
Yeah, I know. I saw the
nationals,
clips. They're
right?
crazy. Yeah.
So I was able to make a couple clips. I still have like, I don't know how, like 400 gigs worth of stuff at
Do
home.
you own? Do you own your media?
I keep it.
Do you own the media? That the school takes it from you, or you?
Well, no, it's
you have
all
the
theirs.
right.
I just have to like ask permission, and
Oh, okay.
they're very comfortable. I'm just cool with them. Yeah, and sports throughout. I just kept doing it, and shout out Humber. I really appreciate what they did for me. Like
that's
specifically
amazing.
athletic,
Yeah, shout out to Humber.
athletic facility.
Because not every school does that for you.
Yeah.
Like to say, we're gonna pay you, but at the same time, we also give you the credit
Yeah.
for the work that you're doing for us. That is crazy. When you think about it, it's crazy, right? I just wanted to ask a question on your journey. I know you said you're still discovering it when it comes to the media. So, like, are you eventually like you're getting more interested in that, like doing sport media?
Yeah, no, sports. I actually the one thing I'm gonna strictly like go for.
And then also has
as
a
if
lot,
right
right?
now, as if right now, because it expands to so many different things. You're not just only shooting one. Even if I were to shoot one, I would stick to soccer 100% if I had a steady placement like job, which I'm kind of looking for right now.
Do you know
And
how
then
you wanted to do? Like you just simply like doing
the
a
same
video,
thing,
or just like doing like a promo for the business, or getting a contract
Anything.
with one company.
yeah, that would be nice.
No.
But because you can always do freelance, right? Because you already have people on the side that they are gonna hit you out time to time.
Or you're not like if you do contract with a like let's say with a team to do their media.
Yeah.
You're not limited to them.
No, you can. I mean, as far as I know, there's on your days off, I'm pretty sure you're able to shoot for
Like different stuff.
people, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong. So that could always work because people that are booking you on weekends, whatever, they're not gonna take up 5 days a week time, right? So you gotta find.
Let me throw something funny on the side. if let's say someone a celebrity or influencer sees you, right? Like good money, business person sees you and he said, I want to hire you as a person for you to be with me 24/7. Would you do it?
I would do it. Yeah. Well, actually, it depends on the person. Like,
Even if
at the
it's
end of the day, like,
so are you gonna do it for the sake of the
payment
experience,
Oh.
or you're gonna do it like if that's what you're supposed to do,
Well, like it really depends because at the end of the day, like,
knowing that you're interested in the sport.
right? So it really depends because at the end of the day, like, I'm not gonna. I know my worth. I know how much I'm worth. You know, at the end of the day.
Sorry, hold on. Okay, you can continue. They make sure to speak loud. You can cut this part out. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So with worth, right? So
Yeah.
just because you love doing what you do, it doesn't mean you're gonna be exploited for it, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna do something that I love, I can only do it for so long at that time. You know, there has to be obviously breaks and stuff like that, or certain gaps of does this make sense? Am I getting? Because time is money, right? Am I getting what I'm working for or thing? Unless it's solely out of love, and
Yeah.
I don't mind, right?
Okay, awesome. So you're not worried. I call it like angel of light. Like, you know, the fake purpose to come in first to kind of take you away from the real thing. You're not worried
like
on
I
that.
always-
You just do it and then switch it up.
always work on some like with work. Like
Yeah.
I've always worked with. Before I accept any type of work, quote
Yeah.
unquote, I always ask myself like, hey, is this gonna be? What's this gonna do for my image, right? So
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, your logo or your name is on things that you work on, right? When someone sees your work, when someone sees things, it's just gonna represent your work, right? So people who make music would message, and then I'm like, do I really want to work on this song, or do I, so even if the price is good, you still have to decline because at the end of the day, I don't really care that much. You know? I rather there's always ways to make money. And
how is your support system? I'm not talking about your family. I know your family, you know, they go all the way.
they're good.
But a lot of times when we start business, right?
Yep.
The people that are close to you that doubt you more, either there's only one way they will approach you, either for discount or for a favor, right? Technically, as a friend, as a family, when someone starts business, the right way to do is actually put money in. So you know what, like, you know, if you charge me, it's one thing for a person to say, okay, I can't afford you. When I afford you, I'll come back, right? But it's another thing for someone to hassle you when you're trying to make a living. And actually, if you can afford it, you say, you know, if you ask me $100, you know what, I'll give you $150 because you need it more. Do you is your surrounding as a good support, or do you have friends who trying to like sabotage or
they won't be friends
or be family?
Be sabotaging, they won't be friends.
I know.
Like,
so how's your support system and how's your surrounding?
Like, support system wise, it's amazing for me. Like, I personally, that's one thing I appreciate. Like, a lot of people that follow me and stuff, like, they're always reposting my stuff, and you know, even like, yeah, there will be people that I have seen people where I worked with them once, and they will literally send me a post or something, be like, oh, this person needs it, just to let you know, like, thanks. And I really appreciate stuff like that, like, because, you know, like, you didn't have to do that. I don't care if you don't have to send me work, but they're going out of their way to give you like a bunch of opportunities that you're not even seeing on the thing, right?
So you said one thing which really caught me. You said if they're not, you know, if sabotaging you, they're not friends. Do you is it like all your friends, do you have a friend that build you up, or you also have a friend that you deal with? You know what I mean, like you bear with, right? Or are you a kind of person is like, if the person doesn't take you to the next level, you're like, you move on?
Yeah, that's actually very key. Like, specifically people, like, there's people you have to drop at some point. Like, if they're not gonna help you, like, build you up, whatever. And it should be common sense at this age, right? We're not like we're grown.
You're not playing around.
When it's something is serious. But I wouldn't say there was anybody that would.
Everybody's like building each other. Everybody's serious.
And it's not like I look for a yes man all the time. Like, like I said earlier, like, I'm very open to criticism. But that comes from someone else. That
but in general, who builds you, right? So when you have a friend, like, if that friend is like always, you know, in trying to like waste your time, especially now you're going to school, you're working while you're in school, and you're trying to build your business, right? So your time, as you get older, your time started gets squeezed, gets squeezed in it, by the time getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So are you like managing, the question I want to ask is like, are you managing, like, when friends comes to you, are you managing and, you know, filtering out whether they're wasting your time or whether they're building you up for you to become, like, you know, the next person you are? Or are you a kind of person who's like, who patience, like, this person is a friend, whether he understands it or not, you hang out with them, and then when you do your own things, you do your own things?
Yeah, like, for those kind of like issues with friends, I don't think, like, I do have friends, obviously, but it's like, when I have work, you know. My phone is on Do Not Disturb, and I'm just working. And
your phone is always on Do Not Disturb. This is how I know he's so serious. You're always, every time I send you, it's like, oh, it's on Do Not Disturb. I'm looking at the time, it's like, it's 1 p.m. What do you mean do not disturb? But I really appreciate it though. Like, if you're busy and you don't want that, you don't get that, especially at,
like, Do Not Disturb is such a like, it's an underrated like button. Like, you just click it and it's just nothing there. And if I really want to see something, I'll like just scroll up. But yeah, I haven't turned.
No, I really applaud you for that, especially because I'm a lot older than you. That's at this age, for you to put a Do Not Disturb your phone, you're not distracted, for you to go to like different things. That is a good character, and I really applaud you. Like, I don't do Not Disturb, except when I'm sleeping.
Sometimes though, people call me like once, and they're like, "Oh, his phone is dead." I'm like, "No, call again."
Oh, I do that. I did that.
Make sure you call me twice.
No, because are you Freedom?
Yeah.
I was a Freedom until recently. So every time when you call Freedom, the first time there's no reception, blank. And then so every time I dial twice when I call you. Like, I dial the first time, it goes out string machine. I'm like, probably it's Freedom, and I dial again and it rings. So that is true. Talk to me about things that you noticed on your on your generation. I think you're using wisely. I believe you're using your time wisely.
Thank you.
one thing I want to focus is trying to find out um, what is our community doing, right? And if you notice that um, because it's my community, I can speak every negative thing that we have.
Yeah.
And if you notice that a lot of different communities, like you're talking about Italian and Jewish, they always work together, they build together. And
100%.
what are the things that you noticed that growing up from our culture, whether specifically in general as a
Like,
African diaspora, or if you're talking about specifically as an Ethiopian person, what is the culture that you think that negative thing that is holding us that you noticed in is like, why do we always do this? And then sometimes you get frustrated
with
and
Habesha, right?
Habesha, or either Habesha or
black.
Yeah, in general, whichever it is.
I don't know. I think
Habesha is still black for people
Yeah.
who thinks they're not
you
black.
mentioned like
So-
you mentioned a specific
yeah.
demographic. That's why. I feel like just in general, like I'm not sure about like the here. Let's see. So, just in general in Toronto, what you notice is like there's not a lot of people building each other up.
Yeah.
Like, in general, it's just a lot of like there's a lot of hate in the city.
Yeah.
If you notice, like I've noticed, or I've had experiences where, you know me, if I'm at any sort of event and there's a camera guy, 100% you can bet on me. I'm going straight to him and saying, hey, what's your this, talking, right?
Yeah.
So I've had instances where I'd be at like some next venue or show or whatever. I don't have a camera. I'm like, oh, what camera is that, brother? Like this, and then the people are just like, whatever. They would say something, and it would just be in some like negative way.
Trying to take my job.
Yeah, you know, like
that's the thing. Yeah.
This guy, like the gatekeep. There's a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's the word. Yeah. So I think as a whole, this
I'm gonna use that word.
gatekeep as a whole, like that's just like a few, only like one or two instances. But for me, otherwise, like everybody that I've met,
Yeah.
whether it be most of the time it's gonna be school because sports events have a lot of media people on them.
Yeah.
All of them have been very nice, and
Would you I know it's beautiful when you have a surrounding that is beautiful. It's good. So would you change anything if you started everything again?
again, it's a good question. Honestly, I would, yeah. The one thing I would do is change my major because I didn't take the risk when I was applying for college.
Yeah.
I didn't take the risk of I want to do specifically video.
What's
so
your major?
Mine is digital communication as a whole.
Okay, that's okay.
So I entered my major with like a little bit of hesitation, right? So I was like, I
trying
want
to figure out.
I want to do all of it at the same time. You know, what if I want to do photo, this and that? But
You know what is amazing me? Things that are positive, you're thinking of it as a something lacking, and like that's how that tells me what kind of person you are.
No,
I'm like, that is a good thing, and you're like, no, I would have changed it.
I wish I was like the one thing I went strict to more hands-on stuff because mine
Yeah.
is there was a lot more theory than I expected for my program, and then I entered in the middle of COVID, so everything that was hands-on was canceled, so moved to online. And there's just some specific like some courses that I wish I took again or thing, but again, what's stopping me from doing the same those things again? But
You can, I mean,
you can retake anything.
you can keep going and go for your masters and specifically on a certain
100%.
things and
Yeah.
things like that. So, so are you more keen building your
Portfolio
company
or-
based on experience or based on education?
That's a good question. Again, you're on the spot with these questions, bro.
I'm digging out.
Education, like the education wise it's more so like there's always an option to land some sort of corp job that's in media. Right?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier again, every corporation, no matter what, could use a media, no matter what it could be.
Yeah.
You could, because everyone has social media nowadays. Everyone is online now, YouTube, everywhere.
Yeah.
Even like TikTok even right now. So just in case, so the education wise would be to get a position, you know, like a 9-to-5 or something.
Thank you.
that
Yes.
gets it right.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I also I want a degree. That's something
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah.
And from otherwise, it's what if you leave that and then maybe I like something I find something I like doing narrow,
Yeah.
and then I follow it right away. So then I build my own stuff, right? So that's one like One Direction. Still, I have no idea what that's gonna be. I'm still like.
It's you have a long way. I mean,
so
you're starting really good, so you can do it in any direction.
So yeah, that's the way it is, right? So job, like graduation wise, maybe get a cool 9 to 5, and not even 9 to 5, but just for a little bit, and then the plan is to do my own thing.
Yeah. Hey family, I'm going to interrupt the conversation to mention today's sponsorship. We have Mofor Coffee, where we are sitting down and doing our podcast. They have 4 locations, and we are sitting down for the location. If you guys want to visit the coffee shop, they have them in downtowns and St. Clair's and here. So you can look at their IG or website to get some of the location that they have. And we also have SBK Media as a second sponsorship. If you're looking at this video, every edit, every beauty that you see has been done by SBK Media. So make sure that you guys you linked up to them, and link is in the description. Now we go back to our conversation. Take care. So how are you? So to make it simpler is basically you will either will educate people to follow your footsteps, or use the experience to bring people into a place of planning their future, right? And so that's basically what you're talking about. Like, you're just educating people for them to kind of take a path.
Literally picking a path, and that's like the hardest thing. 'Cause it's so hard. Like when you're fresh out of high school, or like they were telling you pick where you're going in university in grade like 12, and then just half the people don't know what they're doing and stuff like that. Like for me, it took like a year, because I finished high school, and I took a year just to find out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then after that, I just went media as a whole. And that's when things really took off. So at first, everything was gloomy. Like, it's still not clear, like, to the thing, to the brim. But it's all about, like, if I were to impact, I think I would say just find the purpose, or find something that you really like doing. Yeah. And then see how, or even make your own way. Like, see how you think that's going to benefit you in the future. I'm gonna do this, buy this. Or will it work? ? And then eventually
that is nice.
Because you have to fail a lot of times, man. Like there's so many times that I think about quitting. Like
it's the quote is like, it's not how much you fail, but it's how much you get up, right?
Yeah.
So it's failure is always a path to success. A lot of us, because of the way we grow up, it can be our surroundings, and we think that when we fail, that is just the end of the day.
Yeah, and things also like, I wouldn't necessarily. The thing is, like, don't have any competitions. Do not compete. Like, the only person you're competing against is yourself at the end, because. When you see people doing something good, obviously inside of you might be happy, whatever, but there's always going to be a side of you that be like, oh my gosh, like, dude, I'm so behind in this and this and this. And that's the big killer, like, and that's one thing you should never do. And it might happen where it's like, oh, wow, that looks good, but I'm so behind. Like, what do I do? Yeah. But you gotta erase that mindset. That mindset has
self-doubt,
to go. That mindset has to go, and you gotta do your own thing and congratulate the person no matter what. Right? Yeah. Or it's like, follow their steps. How did they get there? Even reach out and ask. Like, my DMs. Like, I DM a lot of people. Like, hey, this picture profile looks amazing. Like, what did you use? I love it.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
They're not gonna say no. No one has ever said no. They're always.
Go ahead. Sorry.
They always have said, oh, like, thank you so much. I used this. I did this yesterday. I was like, this picture profile looked good. Like, what what S-Log did you use? Or it's like a profile on Sony. What did you use? I just asked,
How is, I'm coming back to spirituality, and like, how does you put, I guess it's a 2 follow-up question. One is that, doing freelance, there's a lot of requests that you get, right? This question, I've seen you do music videos and stuff like that. And where do you draw the line? Like, where, you can get asked a lot of things, and you can be in places that you don't want to be, right? And also, what does it mean for you to have to be in your faith and to have faith for you to continue what you're doing, and at the same time, at the end of the day, as people, as children of God, we whatever we do, we use it to, to represent it. So where is the challenge? Because media it's a very difficult, especially for when it comes to people with faith. It's difficult because there's so much thin lines that you can't cross, and then sometimes you don't know whether it's okay to cross that or not, or whether to do it or not. So how do you do it? Do you have someone that you advise to, or do you just turn back to
that one? With different stuff, it's like at the end of the day, it's always gonna be, does this glorify God, right? Does my work glorify God? And I'm not gonna say like there's been some borderline things that I've done which I wouldn't necessarily regret, but I would have been like, you know what, maybe it should have been better on his side of like, or whoever the person.
You learn as you go.
Exactly. Yeah. So sometimes, I wouldn't say there was any specific things, but I have declined a lot of like things where it's like, you know what, it's not gonna look good because my parents are watching this, or at the end of the day, like.
Or you'll be standing in a place where people are shaking booties.
No.
You're like, how did I get?
No. It's like, at the end of the day, your name is on things, right? You're always gonna be made by this person, right? Yeah. So the way you established or where you are has to be where you're not gonna be at that. Like tomorrow, you're not gonna be like, oh, I shouldn't be there or hide my thing. So most of the time, music videos I don't do as much as I like used to do, because that was just a starting point for me, or it just doesn't sit well with me, right? Unless that person has a specific good message, right? So I remember the last music video I did was just about conflict in the Middle East, and he was just, my boy Ziad was making like he was making a message about what's going on back home in his country, and I was like, you know what, that doesn't hurt,
even for you, you're not free, right? Like when you're shooting it, you're not free. Your spirit is like disturbed, and you'd be like standing there trying to like, and then you're conflicting, so you're not creative as you're supposed to be.
Like those kind of stuffs,
Even when I started this, and I was like, an idea came to me for me not to mention spirituality, for me to be like strictly educated. I'm like, I said, to heck with it. Like, and because I was like, sometimes the enemy just whispers things, and it's like, if you do it, you're in public, you might offend. I'm like, I don't care who gets offended. If they can shut me up for all I care.
Yeah.
And so, but I entertained it at the beginning, and I held myself, and then after like the first, episode, I'm like, that's when I said, you know what, I'm gonna mention it. And so it takes experience, and then also, God needs to help you for you to realize
100%,
that.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's main reason why I like sports a lot, because it's just sports, fam. There's nothing else. Like, it's I like doing it, and it's okay. Like, And as far as thing else, like, I do like, I want to get a bit more like involved in the church and stuff like that.
You can also you can do music video for church music video,
gospel songs. Yeah. I have filmed one gospel song.
I saw one. Was that Mickey?
Yeah, Millie.
I'm sorry, Millie. Yeah.
I did one like it got like 20,000 views on Facebook. I remember. I was like, hey.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, in general, I just avoid music, because even if like when recording, it's so hard because you have like 3 different locations. You have to chop them up.
So you should have you think of asking Millie for you to introduce you to Queensway?
Queensway. No, but I do know people there. I do know people. I know people from there.
You should talk, because imagine you doing that and be a part of it, and then you're doing this. So it's a win-win situation, right? We talked about how do you want to impact, but if I say, what do you want your legacy to be?
I barely started, fam.
No, something that you always think. We always think, especially as a man, we always think of like, I want people to know me with this, right? Do you write down your plans?
No, that's about it.
No, do because I same here. I had the problem of not writing down things that I want. I just January came this year is when I became disciplined for me to write down like what I wanted to do. I'm gonna ask you one question. If you have it or if you don't have it, it's okay. But do you have a specific plan with your goal? The next 5 years, I wanted to do this, and or in general, this is. I know you're still discovering, but in your discovery, what is your plan? It can be like this year.
So the priority right now is to specifically my cameras is get my signature, like my official equipment, right? So it's like this is my go-to, right? So I'm still kind of building equipment wise.
Yeah.
And then straight up go to graduate. No. I want to graduate
Yes.
first. Actually, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to graduate, and then after graduation is when I'm gonna straight up do some
Focus.
yeah, specifically, like I said, soccer has a big impact on me, so I'm gonna do a lot of I'm gonna try to get something in Canada or something in Toronto, or
Tips.
I think for I hope that would be cool.
Yeah.
I like TFC, but
Yeah.
soccer wise,
my first guest that I brought on the podcast, her son just got recruited by TFC. I
oh
think,
really?
Yeah.
I think I think I've seen it.
15 years old or 16 years old,
Wow.
something like that. I mean, there's no dream that's small.
Yeah,
Think
100%.
big and do it. And what would it be if I ask you, if I wake you up on the next day, and I'll say, what's one thing that you will not depart from doing? What would it be?
Or from not like
Anything. Like it can be it can be what you're doing right now. It can be anything. And then if I say, okay, hey, tomorrow you gotta choose one thing that you have to do, what would it be?
oh, it's me and my camera, bro.
You in
This
camera.
is me and my camera,
Give
bro.
me, leave the camera to me and take everything else.
That's it. Literally, every time, like I'll be like random thoughts come, like what if I get robbed, or whatever. I'm like keeping my camera on me. You can take everything away.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like
Do you have? Then I just want to ask you: do you have anything that one message if you want to pass in, especially to your generation? Not a lot of younger generation, especially at your age or younger, that are being smart and chasing after what they wanted to do. So if you do it, what would it be your?
my message would be, well, firstly, like no matter what, like don't give up, right? So I've heard people where they were so good at one point, and then their cameras or whatever their equipment they're using or whatever their passion is collecting dust, right? They just left it, and there's a lot of like times where you may like think you're gonna quit, but it's to always keep going. The second is use your resources, right? So right now more than ever, man, like dude, I'm on ChatGPT like 24/7. I actually paid for this month, and I use ChatGPT 4, like the web, and it gives me everything, plans, you name it, man. So use all the resources. We have the best resources right now, especially in this year. There should not be any excuse. If you use the resources to the brim.
I'm taking note for myself too.
What else? I think networking is very important as well, right? So no matter where you are, if you see someone that you're like, oh, that person thing, go and talk. Like
that is awesome.
You're gonna miss it. You're never gonna see that person again.
Yeah.
You might never see that person again, right?
Yeah.
And make connections, and then
that's beautiful. So don't give up. Use your resources and network. That's a beautiful advice to give. And I always ask my guests if they have you read book that impacted your life or changed your life. I always say you can't opt out with the Bible. No? That is uncomparable. That's an opt out. Like you can't opt out with that. So
that's a quick answer. It's Bible.
So in your case, it can be anything. It can be media. It can be a podcast conversation. Is there anything
I think
that you listened to or you saw or you read that really changed your thinking? Or someone.
I don't know. I feel like again, like media is so broad. Like I could be learning something from a movie I'm watching, and it's not because of the plot or anything. It's because the way they do that stuff, right? I'll be watching a movie, I'm like, wow, like the way I'm just analyzing the movie to the core. Like I'm looking at we're looking at the action scene. I'm looking at how did they flip the camera to like where's down, like what machine did they use?
I know that is crazy.
I watch a lot of like behind the scenes.
I used to annoy my family, when we watch a movie, one thing I learned is like spot a mistake in the movies, right? And then my eyes catches it right away, and like like they shoot different scene in a different time, right? And then you have
the camera scene.
Yeah,
I've done that before. No,
I was watching recently. We were watching. I forgot what the movie was like. And like the guy was like talking. He turned around. He has beard. And I'm like, how do you grow beard once? I'm like, look, I'm rewinding, and they're like, oh, not again.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. There was one. I remember there's one scene I caught. I don't know. I was watching Suits recently, like the lawyer show.
Yeah.
And like the main character has turned his face around, and he's talking, but his jaw is not moving at all. He's just like this. And I had to literally do what he did. I had to go back, and I was like, wait, I caught him. I caught them lacking.
Yeah, that is.
It's like, it's very like.
That's a beauty of media.
Nerdy, but it is like.
No, it is thing. It makes you feel good, like the fact that you can actually focus and do it, right?
So that's one of the things that's one of the main reasons why I want to drift onto film, because I just the way they do it, like film production, I love.
Are you interested in like documentary?
Yeah, I've done.
You know why I asked that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I feel like you'd be really good at it on a documentary.
I was actually planning to do one in the upcoming, because for Humber specifically, I'm gonna send an email soon to them. My boss. There was our volleyball team went all the way to the finals last year and lost, so we weren't able to post anything. Like you don't want to post after you lose, right?
Yeah.
So I saved up everything I have. I'm like, hey, this is gonna be motivation for next year. I'm gonna make a long.
You're gonna be do like big clips interviewing the guys and stuff like
100%.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I noticed myself, like I kind of like I found out that over time that I can spot people's like talent, and I can observe it, and I don't know why, but I'm like this guy, he looked like he can do an amazing documentary, like those documentaries that you can pay on a Vimeo and National Geographic and things like that. So it's like, it's awesome. So again, I really appreciate it for you showing up and coming in, and for those of you who are watching, and if you wanted to do, doesn't matter, events, weddings, and
not weddings,
sport.
not yet.
Not weddings.
Not weddings. Oh, not yet. Weddings soon. And when I get
events, okay.
Little recaps, events. That's where I'm at right now. Only because of time. It's the birthdays, everything.
Birthdays and like parties and like right, like get-togethers, and then especially if you're sports, if you're clubs and watching, or if you're organizing a whatever event, you can hook him up. SBK Media. I'm gonna put his Instagram. Link. That's what he has right now, right?
Kidus.
Yeah, and then is it Shop by Kidus or SBK?
Shop by Kidus.
Okay, yeah. And then I'm gonna put that link in, and then he's a very talented young man, and then you definitely wanted to have him, and I brought him in before he gets famous, and then you better hire him before you can't afford him anymore. So, in this podcast we have a tradition where the previous guest will write an encouragement word to the next guest.
Oh.
And the beauty about it is that I don't get to read it until the day of it. So I have
there's a person that wrote me something.
Yeah. So there is, and then this person that wrote it is and the funny thing is I didn't even release his video yet. He's a very like well educated and well put together, and financially he's a family man. He's an older gentleman who has like children, adults and stuff, and very wise person. So I wanted to use it as a season closing video.
Yeah.
So you get the privilege of getting his word.
Whoa.
So I believe he wrote a long one. Okay. And I'm gonna read it. And then you do the same thing. You write down, and I'll keep it, and I don't get to read it until the next person. So, it says this. I don't know who you are, but I know Surafel, our mutual host, and because I know that he is a man of great integrity, I know that you also must be a person of a great integrity. On the basis of that conclusion, I say this to you: you are special, you are powerful. You are the light that will give people hope in this dark world. Wow. Your action will continue to impact people beyond this generation. I pray that the God whom I serve and who has been so wonderful to me and my family will be gracious toward you and and all who are clear to you, and God bless you.
The standards just are so high.
You got the gold. Hold on, I gotta repeat the part. You gotta hear this one because I gotta repeat. He said, "You are special. You are powerful. You are the light that will give people hope in this dark world. Your action will continue to impact people beyond this generation. I pray that the God whom I serve and who has been so wonderful to me and my family will be gracious toward you and all who are dear to you. God bless you."
Wow. Hey, whoever that was, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Now, my expectations for me just went through the roof, yo.
So now you have the word of this gentleman, who I'm not gonna say it, and whoever want to know, you will figure out later on the closing of the season.
Good.
And you carry.
When do I get to write mine? Like, I get to write mine. Like,
you get to write yours, yeah. So, and then again, I appreciate it, and thank you for coming and
of course.
for driving all the way here. And then
no, you drove further than me. Mine was nothing.
So, thank you again. And so for those of you who watch this, if you like this, subscribe and like it, share it, and we'll be posting it. We're trying to do it every week, but if we can't do it every week, it's okay. And make sure that follow my friend SBK, as I'm gonna put the link in, and then follow Limitless both on YouTube and Instagram, so you can actually see what's coming up. Make sure you hit the bell notification button so you get notified every time we post it. Take care.
All right.
While we got this opportunity to stand in unity together.